he blesses the prince, don't die. Don't die. Live, don't die. So then they're going along a little farther, and they meet a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. He's in spiritual ecstasy of love of God all the time. So the sage blesses him, either live or die. Live or die. And finally they meet a butcher. And of course the butcher, his whole life is just killing animals and cutting them up in pieces and stuff like that. So he blesses the butcher, don't live, don't die. So then the disciple asks his guru, what did you mean by all those blessings? And he said, well, the brahmachari, the brahmana, is performing so many austerities. His life is very tough. You know, he's very strict. He doesn't allow himself any material pleasure. But when he goes to the spiritual world, he's going to have everything. So I told him, die immediately. Don't live. Just die right now. Then get the reward that you have earned. And then the prince, well, he's involved in sense enjoyment, and now everything is very nice, but when he dies, because he's committed so many sinful activities, meat eating, illicit sex, and so on, he's going to be in a hellish condition of life, so don't die. Live, don't die. As long as you live, everything's very nice. But as soon as you die, you're in trouble. Then the butcher, his life now is miserable, and his life in the future is going to be miserable. So don't live, don't die. Either way, you're suffering. And finally, the devotee, he's in spiritual consciousness. He's with the Lord right now, and in his future life also very transcendental. So either live or die. It's all the same. Transcendental. So that's the meaning, that's the purport of anadi nidana. Anadi nidana. We're neither birth nor death. We're also like that. We're also anadi nidana. Das. So the next one is dhata. Dhata means original creator. Before Brahma. Brahma is the secondary creator. Brahma takes the material elements and fashions them into the different planetary systems and the different forms of life, different species and so on. But those elements are created by the Lord himself directly. Actually, they are emanated from his transcendental body. So the elements of this material world are earth, water, fire, air, ether are the gross elements, and the subtle elements are mind, intelligence, and false ego. Okay? And then from those elements, the different both knowledge acquiring and active senses are derived. So this material universe is covered by these 8 elements. And each covering is 10 times thicker than the previous covering. So the first covering is earth, then a covering of water, then a covering of fire, then air, then ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And each one of these coverings being 10 times thicker, well, you can figure it out. It's like 10 to the 8th. What's that? 10 million times the size of the interior of the universe. So this universe is very large. Yet the coverings of this universe are 10 million times larger than the universe itself. So we can understand there's very, very thick covering, and then inside, the space inside the universe is comparatively very small. So the creation is vast, huge, enormous, and yet this is considered one of the smallest universes in the creation, according to the Vedas. So Dhata, he is the creator of all of this. He emanates all of this, all these material elements. And then at the end of the creation, he reabsorbs them into himself. So the manifestation of the material energy is temporary. even though it lasts for a long time. Actually, I looked it up the other day. 611 trillion years is the lifetime of this universe. So 611, and we're right about in the middle right now. So about 300 trillion years ago, this universe was created, and then it's going to last another 300 trillion years or so, you know, give or take a few trillion years. And then it's going to disappear. And then for a long period of time, an immeasurable period of time, there will be no material manifestation. And then all the souls who are in material conditioned consciousness will just be in a state of suspended animation. And then again the Lord will create. So we want to definitely become self-realized before the 300 trillion years are up, so that we don't have to go. But even then, at the end of every day of Brahma, the manifested planetary systems are dissolved, and we go into a state of unconsciousness, like dreamless sleep. And this lasts for a long time, actually the whole night of Brahma. And then the next day of Brahma, again, the creation is manifest. So manifestation and unmanifestation of this material universe is taking place constantly. The spiritual world isn't like that, though. The spiritual world is always manifest. So we should transfer our existence to the spiritual world. And then there's no need for this material creation. And we don't have to wait when it goes into unmanifestation. We don't have to go to sleep. We can stay, we can remain active, and our life is bliss and pleasure. So why wouldn't we want to be active all that time? So, anadi nidana dhata vidhata. Vidhata means he is the original author of all Vedic instructions. V means is a prefix meaning like ultimate or highest. So vidhata. He's not only the creator of the material manifestation, he's vidhata, he is the emanator or original author of the Vedas as well. The Vedas emanate from the breathing of Lord Mahavishnu, along with the material energy. When he makes the material creation, in other words, he also makes the Vedas, which describe how to use this material life to attain self-realization. There's no need for Vedas in the spiritual world, only in the material world, because here we're covered over by material energy. And we need the Vedas to show us how to get out of this diseased condition back to our normal condition of spiritual existence. So the Vedas are manifest along with the material world. In other words, he provides the documentation, he provides the manual, how to use this thing. He's not an irresponsible creator.
Frequently asked questions?
Yeah, right. Frequently asked questions. So he's giving all that information, all that knowledge, along with the material world, so that we can get out of this diseased condition back to our normal condition of spiritual life. And because we don't want to know, we deny the Vedas. And even if we hear the knowledge of the Vedas, we don't put it into practice. That's our problem. It's not his problem. Yes, of course, he could force us, he could make us do it, but then that wouldn't be an actual action coming from our own initiative. He wants us to approach him on our own initiative, on our own choice. So he makes the Vedas available, but he doesn't force us to accept them. Especially in Kali Yuga, you have to look very hard to find this Vedic knowledge. It's not easy to find. You have to search for a long time. You have to go through many different paths, many different stages of knowledge before you come to the highest Vedic knowledge. Unless you're very, very fortunate and you happen to take birth in a family of devotees or something like that. Even then, most of the people who subscribe to Vedic knowledge are impersonalists. And they don't accept the personal form of the Lord. They don't accept the process of devotional service. This is a very dangerous world. There's no real knowledge. or very little real knowledge of our spiritual position available. Because even the governments and the corporations like that, they conspire to suppress this Vedic knowledge. They don't want people to be enlightened. Why? Because enlightened people are not very good consumers. We don't have much taste or much attraction for material opulence and sense gratification. Or if we do have these things, we use them only for spiritual purposes. So we're not very good at, keeping up with the Joneses and stuff like that. We have very simple tastes. Yeah, it's hard to make a corporation just supplying devotees with the stuff that they need, because it's very simple. So let's see, one more. Dhatur Uttama. Dhatur Uttama means the Supreme Person. Dhatur is a